You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Defence what measures the Ministry is taking
Yes, Majority Leader.
Right Honourable Speaker. No, we need to apply so that he will be allowed to answer the question on behalf of the Minister. Yeah, Mr. Speaker, there is also the Minister for Finance, and because of the ongoing work on the budget, he is very constrained. So his deputy is here, the Deputy Minister for Defence. So I want to crave your indulgence to grant leave for the Deputy Minister to answer the question. Mr. Speaker, I had discussed it earlier with Honourable Habib and Jerry, and they say they will not raise any objections. And so you may not need to ask their opinion whether they accept or not, because we've already agreed.
That you will not lie to me, I will still have to hear from them. Yes, Honourable Deputy Whip.
Mr. Speaker, you know, the Majority Leader is my senior brother, so sometimes when he comes from different angles, I find it very difficult to object. We do have some chat. But Mr. Speaker, even the standing orders have given it has given the discretion to you to make that. Because if you read Standing Order 88.6, and it reads that in the absence of the minister, member or the head of the independent constitutional body to whom a question is directed, the Speaker may permit an authorized person to respond to the question. Yes. So, Mr. Speaker, we are entirely in your hands. But yes, except that I don't know whether the Deputy Minister is well equipped enough, whether he has the capacity to respond to this question and other supplementary questions. So if the Majority Leader is actually putting the Deputy Minister to respond, it shouldn't be the case that he will answer the substantive question and then might run away from the supplementary questions that might follow. So, Deputy Minister.
It is always in line with natural justice to listen to both parties in order to enable you exercise the discretion effectively. So having heard from you that you are not opposed to the Deputy Minister answering the question, I would then ask the Deputy Minister to take the appropriate seat while I have the discretion to exercise. And I'm asking the Deputy Minister to take the appropriate seat for the questioner to pose the question. Yes, Honourable Member for Bosumi from you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my condolence to the entire nation when I was filing this question and to the good family. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to ask the Minister for Defence what measures the Ministry is taking to ensure the territorial integrity, security of officers and citizens of Ghana in the midst of the recent political instability in Togo. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Minister, you may respond.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the recent situation in Togo, if escalated, poses potential security, social and economic risk to Ghana, including refugee inflows, cross-border crimes and other destabilizing effects. The Ministry of Defence, working closely with other security and intelligence agencies, has therefore adopted a comprehensive contingency framework to preempt and respond to any adverse effects of this risk. This framework, I must emphasize, is preventive, proactive, and multidimensional in nature and seeks to uphold the peace and security of our dear nation. Mr. Speaker, in furtherance to this objective, the Ghana Armed Forces, in collaboration with other security and intelligence agencies, has taken the following measures. Securing the eastern frontier. In addition to existing security arrangements along the Ghana-Togo border, joint patrols have been intensified, particularly along porous and unapproved routes, to deter infiltration, prevent territorial encroachment, and assure the Ghanaian public of their safety. On humanitarian preparedness and civil-military cooperation, the Ministry intends to pre-position humanitarian logistics at designated reception centers, such as Aflao, Denu, Petoi, to manage potential refugee inflows. Additionally, the Ghana Armed Forces coordination teams will work with NADMO and the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, as well as other partners, to ensure that displaced persons are registered, screened, and cared for in accordance with humanitarian standards. This process, besides providing care and assistance, would further help to identify, prevent, and arrest potential troublemakers. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry has issued firm but measured instructions to our troops to exercise maximum restraint and engage only in the event of a direct and imminent threat. Public assurance and information operations. The Ghana Armed Forces has initiated strategic communication activities aimed at sensitizing communities along the Eastern Corridor for the purpose and scope of our deployment, thus enhancing civil-military trust and deterring misinformation. To ensure effectiveness of our communication activities, the communication and information operations have considered using local languages to deepen our operations. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Defense, through the Ghana Armed Forces, is fully committed to maintaining peace and stability within our borders in line with its mission to safeguarding the sovereignty and dignity of our Republic. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Minister. Any supplementary question?
Sure, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me first and foremost admit and acknowledge the all-encompassing approach for which the Minister has responded to the question. Mr. Speaker, but I want to get some specifics. What specific changes have been made to the Ghana Armed Forces operational deployments along the Eastern Corridors, including the rapid response task, surveillance, drones, and forward operation bases, if we have any, and what are the current routes for engagement to the border and the post? Thank you.
Yes. Can you repeat the question?
Mr. Speaker, is that? I am speaking to the mic. Okay, so, Mr. Speaker, I first and foremost want to acknowledge the all-encompassing response that were given by the Minister. But I am only seeking for some specifics. I'm asking that what changes have been made to the Ghana Armed Forces operational deployment along the Eastern Corridors, including the use of rapid response task forces, surveillance drones, and the forward operational bases, if we have any, along the Eastern Corridor, and what are the current rules of engagement for the border patrols? Thank you.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I'm sure the honorable member knows that detailed operational issues of the armed forces cannot be disclosed in the chamber of parliament. detailed operational issues. How many drones are you using? How many soldiers and where are you deploying? Those are detailed operational issues, and they cannot be disclosed in the Chamber of Parliament. And secondly, Mr. Speaker, if you check our standing orders, we are asked to be careful when it relates to a foreign country. When it relates to a foreign country, we need to be careful. If you check the Order 86, says that questions shall not refer discourteously to any country, nor contain expressions that are likely to undermine the foreign relations between Ghana and another country. So in this regard, we need to be careful because there is a foreign country involved, our immediate neighbor. So we need to be careful the kind of questions that we ask and how we refer to a foreign country. Should we even be debating the instability situation in their country? These are all matters that we need to be careful about. But I think that a question about the detailed operational issues of the armed forces is a question that should not be allowed by the Right Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Member for very well.
Speaker, with respect, I listened to the majority leader, and with greatest respect to him, I disagree with his intervention. He attempted to ground his, but he completely mixed the issues and missed the point. The honorable member's supplementary question did not seek to refer discourteously to any country, nor could he say that the question contained expressions that are likely to undermine the foreign relations between Ghana and any other country. Mr. Speaker, with respect, that was not the mainstay of his question. The burden of the question was to get from the minister those operational activities and to give some breakdown. I mean, he can be general, but for the majority leader to attempt to invoke 86K and by so doing invite you to rule him out of order, Mr. Speaker, with the greatest respect, is not a fair approach. The honorable member has complied with the rule on supplementary questions. What he is asking is emanating from the main answer from the minister. That is all his prayer. If the minister knew that those matters were sensitive and of national security in nature, then he shouldn't have provided it in his answer. The respected member, Honorable Asafweje, is not introducing anything new. He is only saying, asking a question based on what the Honorable Minister at the dispatch box has told the Parliament of Ghana. So, Mr. Speaker, with respect, the member is not out of order. He is within the rules. He's acted within the tenet of supplementary question. And do not be inclined to this invitation. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I actually did not raise an objection to the question for some reason. But when you sit in the Parliament of Ghana and you describe the situation in Togo as political instability in Togo, you have, in my opinion, discourteously referred to the situation of a foreign country. People are engage in their demonstrations. They have a right to demonstrate. And the government is managing their situation. You are inviting this House to interfere in a matter involving a foreign country. But I saw that, but I allowed it to pass. The minister gave you an answer. You yourself admitted that the minister's answer has been comprehensive enough, and you commended the minister for providing a comprehensive answer. So I thought that the matter would have ended there. Now you are saying that the minister should now give you the detailed operational activities of the soldiers. He said that detailed operational activities of the soldiers, including how many drones are they deploying, how many officers are they deploying, how many men are they deploying. And I'm saying that when you get to that level, you are asking for too much detail, and operational matters are not matters that the minister should come and stand here in the chamber and be telling us the operational details of a deployment. It doesn't happen anywhere. That is why I raised the objection, and I even then went back and showed you that your question itself had difficulties, just that we decided to ignore it and allow you to ask the question. The Togolese government can write to us and say, why are you describing the situation in my country as political instability? Why are you interfering in the affairs of my country? They have a right to ask us. What is happening in Togo is the business of Togo. If you have evidence that a Ghanaian in any way, you can now ask a question about the condition of that Ghanaian who has been, either killed or anything has happened to a Ghanaian. So that is the context in which I make reference to that order. But my actual objection is asking for operational details of what the military are doing at the border. No, I don't think that the minister should be answering questions about operational details of the armed forces.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with respect, we have to appreciate the issues before us in proper perspective and in the context that the rules of this House allow. By the way, and for the avoidance of doubt, Order 85.1 provides, and I quote with the leave of the House, the Speaker is responsible for the admissibility of a question. Mr. Speaker, the foundation upon which the supplementary question is being mounted has already been approved by the Speaker. This question was admitted as urgent question. The content of the question and the content of the supplementary question, Mr. Speaker, are one and the same by way of import. The question provides, quote, to ask the Minister for Defense what measures the ministry is taking to ensure the territorial integrity, security of officers and citizens of Ghana in the midst of the recent political instability in Togo. Mr. Speaker has admitted this question. It's been advertised. Communication has been transmitted to the ministry. The minister is here to answer. So it is too late in the day for any issue to be raised on admissibility, with the greatest respect. The minister again provides details in his answer, and it is upon this that the respected colleague from Bosomi Fremu is asking. So for the majority leader, Mr. Speaker, to come in with a preliminary objection, Mr. Speaker, in my view, he is trying to displace you of your bona fide. He's trying to displace you of your bona fide. It is not within his mandate, because, Mr. Speaker, the question has already been admitted. If you come to Order 85.2, it says when a question is admitted by the Speaker, the clerk shall immediately communicate the text to the minister, member or head of the independent constitutional body to whom the question is addressed, and notify the business committee. You have been notified. You've programmed the person. And the member of parliament is here discharging his duties. Now you are raising security matters, and now you're saying you are invoking 86K, that the question itself is problematic, but you allowed it. Mr. Majority Leader, it is not for you to allow or disallow. I beg to submit. 86K that you are invoking, that to you, you want to interpret it to mean he is discourteously referring to a foreign country. Mr. Majority Leader, with respect, this question has been admitted by the Speaker. It's been admitted. Mr. Speaker, we need not belabor on this matter anymore.
Honorable members, I think I have heard a lot on this particular matter. It is not for any reason that members of our Security and Intelligence Committee had to take oath in order to operate within the ambit of that committee. The question asked has been answered. I am of the view that stretching it further into the detailed operational activities would have been taking these security matters too far into the public domain. So, with all due respect, Honorable Member, I will humbly overrule the question. If you have another question, you may do so.
Mr. Speaker, as it pleases you, we will take note of the precedents. Honorable Member, take note and reframe your question. Mr. Speaker, we thank you.
So, Honorable Member, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker,
yes, Majority Leader, the member has not asked any question.
No, that is so.
Yes.
Just for the records of this House, we are all guided by our rules, including a Speaker. We are all guided by our rules, including a Speaker. The rules say a Speaker should admit questions. But the rules say these are the conditions for admissibility of questions. Time and again in this House, Speakers have admitted questions, but on the floor, objections have been raised to those questions. Speakers' minds drawn to certain considerations. And on the basis of those matters brought to the attention of Speakers, they themselves have said, no, do not answer this question. So don't just say that because a Speaker has admitted a question that nobody can ever raise an objection to the question being asked. Because Speakers are human. Judges are human. That is why we have an opportunity to appeal cases up to the Supreme Court, and even after they have ruled, to ask for a review, because it is a human institution. And he knows that at any point you can even raise questions of jurisdiction in litigation, at any point, even when the case has traveled far. So the same way, a Speaker can admit a question, but when his attention is drawn to certain issues, he may decide, no, I think that I erred, so this question should not be asked. So I don't want to make the world believe that once a Speaker has admitted a question, no one in the chamber can raise a question of the propriety or otherwise of the admissibility of that question. If you say that maybe we should raise, if a Speaker has taken a decision, there's a procedure for challenging the decision of the Speaker, I agree. But I said that I saw it, flagged it, but did not object to the question being asked. I said that, even though I personally felt there was something wrong with that question. But I didn't object to the question being asked. So I didn't challenge the decision of the Speaker. I allowed the decision of the Speaker to prevail. But then it is the subsequent follow-up question that I was objecting to, which has been ruled upon by the Speaker. I just wanted for the purpose of the records.
Yes, Honorable Habib.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. The Majority Leader is abusing our standing orders and the proceedings of this House. Mr. Speaker, read Order 88.8. And with your permission, I read. Order 88 says that where a question has been asked and answered, no debate on it shall be permitted. The majority leader is debating the question that has been asked and answered. And for that matter, whatever he's saying, he's debating the answer that he's doing. And our rule says that, Mr. Speaker, where a question has been asked and answered, no debate on it shall be permitted. And that is exactly what the majority leader is doing. So, Mr. Speaker, overrule him, rule the majority leader out, and let us continue. You have already directed that that question is overruled. He should ask another question. Whatever he's doing is now offending our orders. So let's make progress, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, honorable member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the minister gave some details. He talked about securing the eastern frontiers and the eastern corridor. He mentioned the humanitarian logistics they are putting in place, the civil relations and cooperation. He mentioned how the armed forces are cooperating with NADMO to work on this. He mentioned how the international agencies are even coming in to help. Mr. Speaker, that is why I typed my questions, my follow-ups. I am asking that, has there been any deployment in the eastern corridor? Yes or no? Not specifics. Mr. Speaker.
Honorable member.
Mr. Speaker.
If our memories can serve us right, that was not the question you asked.
Mr. Speaker.
Your question dealt with the detailed operational activities.
I read it out, Mr. Speaker. Anyway, I read my questions out.
Do you have any further questions to ask?
Yes, I have a lot of further questions.
Do you have any further questions to ask?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I have further questions to ask.
Please ask a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the minister, has Ghana submitted any red line declarations or contingency scenarios to the ECOWAS or AU in the event of total constitutional or any problem that happens along the Togo border, and will Parliament be consulted should any decision of this nature be taken? Thank you.
Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, once again, this question is not really flowing from the answer given by the minister. If there has been communication to ECOWAS and all those other matters, they don't flow from the answer that the minister has provided.
Honourable member be guided accordingly. Honourable Asafoje, be guided accordingly. And if that is your last question,
that's another question.
Then let's make progress.
Mr. Speaker, I want to ask if there have been some deployment in the northern region or the northern border of our country. And I also want to ask, does the ministry intend to sustain a military or financial capacity which will be extended to the border operation should the situation worsen?
Honourable member, let's together look at the questions you have asked. Let's together look at the question that we have asked. To ask the Minister for Defence what measures the ministry is taking to ensure the territorial integrity, security of officers and citizens of Ghana in the midst of the recent political instability in Togo. Your question is about measures taken, and the minister has indicated the measures that have been taken. So if there is a supplementary question, it must not derogate from the main question. That is what the rule is telling us. And honourable members, this question is security in nature. So you may not get the answer that you want because of the environment that we found ourselves. International diplomacy will not allow certain things to be said on the floor of the House.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I can understand the difficulty from the majority leader and the majority front bench. But, Mr. Speaker, there have been a practice. If it is the case that the questions have some security implications, the minister should be guided so that on the record he will say so. But a question being admitted, asked, and then answered. If majority leader keep interfering in that, he can guide the minister as to what to say. But raising objection on the supplementary questions, Mr. Speaker, you have that authority in overruling such questions in terms of supplementary questions. But majority leader just raising objections on that. We are not making progress. He has just asked and answered. He is entitled to supplementary questions. Other members too can ask if you permit it.
I realize that you did the honorable thing of going to the honorable member asking the question. So I would advise the honorable member to take a cue so that we can make progress. You have done the honorable thing as a whip. I saw everything, and I commend you highly for that.
Mr. Speaker, I don't want to believe that the Deputy Minister, Broja Jemfi, my former friend, is capable of answering, unless you are suggesting that he cannot handle this question. Mr. Speaker, if it is the case that the Deputy Minister doesn't have the capacity to respond to these questions, let us know, because that's the indication you are giving us. But I know he can answer those questions, so give him the opportunity to flow. Look at the way he is dressed. He has appeared in this chamber today to respond to questions. Look at him. But you are now, stealing the day. Give him the opportunity to respond. And if he is not capable of handling the question, let us know.
Yes, Honourable Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I think that we should be careful how we treat matters in this chamber. You cannot be allowed to send the wrong and erroneous impression out there that the minister cannot answer. First and foremost, let's analyze your question. To ask the Minister for Defense what measures the ministry is taking to ensure the territorial integrity, security of officers in Togo. Security of officers were officers in Togo at our embassy. Citizens of Ghana living in Togo. Are you getting the situation? Living in Togo, or is it living in Ghana? Which officers? What's the location of those officers? What's the location of those citizens? Is this a question that a Minister of Interior should answer, or Minister of Defense should answer, or a Minister of Foreign Affairs should answer? You see, we have allowed you. As I looked at the question, I saw the structural defects of that question. But sometimes when relatively younger members of the House are asking questions, you allow them to ask the question. But the follow-up question, I realized, was even getting us into murkier areas. That is how come I tried to restrain him. Not because I wanted to stop him. This question itself is problematic. Whose security? Ghanaians living in Ghana or in Togo? Soldiers located where? In Ghana or in Togo? Officers? Is it military officers or just personnel of Ghana embassy in Togo? If that is the case, how is that the responsibility of the Minister of Defense? If we are talking about the security of Ghanaians in Togo, because there's instability in Togo, how is the Defense Minister the person to answer questions, if not the Foreign Minister? So please, and I indicated that you have concluded and branded Togo as a politically unstable country. And I said that reference to Togo is not appropriate. We don't want to drag their matters into our national parliament. So please, Don't create the impression that the minister cannot answer questions. And we have a responsibility to ensure that even those of us asking questions act within the framework of our own rules. That's all I'm trying to do. The minister can answer the question. He can get up and tell you that there are operational issues and therefore he cannot disclose operational issues. He has answered the question. He has.
Honorable Tampoli.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm a little concerned with the with the remarks that just came from the leader of the House. Mr. Speaker, under Order 85(1), and for the avoidance of doubt, it reads, the Speaker is responsible for the admissibility of a question. Mr. Speaker, once the Speaker has admitted the question, if you raise matters such as ambiguity in the question, then you are impugning the integrity of the Speaker. In this chamber, in this House, it is always said that where you are in doubt, ask Bagbin. Mr. Speaker, I think that Mr. Speaker did the right thing by admitting the question. Now, if the minister needs further clarification, it is up to him to raise it. It is not for the leader of the House to raise impediments. As a matter of fact, and I agree with what Honorable Habib says, it appears that the leader of the House is debating the question. Allow the questions to flow so that the minister, you ask permission for him to answer the question. So that I think he's capable enough to answer the questions. The question has been admitted. If he needs clarification, he should say so. Mr. Speaker, this is just what I think. I think that you are now abusing the Speaker, and that is not right. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Tampoli, I take a great exception to the fact that I am being abused. I am not being abused. I think we are all getting something fundamentally wrong. The question has been asked and answer provided to the question. We are now on supplementary question. So it is supplementary question that is under reference. So, honorable members, permit me to ask the questioner whether he has a supplementary question. And if he doesn't have a supplementary question, we'll be guided as to what to do.